Hey guys, hope you are all having a fantastic day. Today I will not be here. I am at a meeting at the middle school all day, so I am making some notes for you guys. These notes that I am writing out are for Algebra 1 and my Algebra 1 honors. For the honors, your notes are going to look a little bit different when the sub passes them out. However, they are pretty much the same examples and the same problems, so you can easily follow along. The top part on the Algebra 1 notes is review that the honors kids may not have on their notes. Okay, so just kind of go through that, and it's just a little bit of a reminder of how we find slope and y-intercepts and how we write some equations. Okay, so just bear with me. I only wanted to make one set of notes because these are going to take some time. So honors, just kind of follow along in the beginning, and then once we get down, I will let you know whenever this is where you'll start taking your notes. Okay. All right, so here we go. You guys are to take these notes during the class time, and then your homework for both classes are going to be book pages. And so make sure that you look on Canvas to see what those book pages are. Okay? So our objective for today, I can write linear functions in slope-intercept form and point-slope form. So a little bit of review, and this is just on the Algebra 1 regular notes. Finding slope and y-intercept. So remember, to find the slope and the y-intercept for the first part, we have to change this to y equals mx plus b. So we need to convert the equation into y equals mx plus b. That means I want to get y by itself, and I need to get 2x to the other side. So in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, and I get 3y is equal to negative 2x minus 6. And I have to divide everything by 3 because I cannot have a 3y. I need to get y by itself. So then my equation is y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. So my slope is negative 2/3. My y-intercept is negative 2. So now I can write the equation in the y equals mx plus b form. So y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. And there you have it. I just converted my standard form, this is in standard form, to slope-intercept form so that I can find the slope and the y-intercept. All right, number 2, we just want to find the slope given 2 points. So remember, we need the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to find the slope. So I can label my points x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug them into the formula, 6 minus 5 over negative 3 minus negative 2. And that gives me 1 over, remember minus and negative changes to positives. So negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So my slope is negative 1. So that was just kind of a recap and a little reminder of what we need to do to find the slope, or to find to convert from standard to slope-intercept form. All right, so now we're going to be looking at writing an equation of each line with the given slope and the y-intercept. So right now we're focusing on writing equations. Before, we focused on the graphing part. So now we're just going to focus on the writing equation part. So remember, when we write an equation, this is an equation of a line, we refer to it as y equals mx plus b. So anytime we're writing an equation of a line, we're writing it in slope-intercept form. So for part A, we have the slope is negative 3, and we have the y-intercept is 1/2. So if I put it into y equals mx plus b, I have y equals, my m is negative 3x, and then my y-intercept is plus 1/2. Now if I have a slope of 0, I'm going to have y equals, I don't normally write 0x, right? So we don't need that. All we need to write is the y-intercept, which is -2. Okay, so when the slope is 0, we don't write it, we just leave it out, and we write the y-intercept as -2. All right, next part, write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form given a graph. So first thing we need to find in the graph is the slope. So remember, we can count our rise over run. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to the right. So we went up 6, and we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 4. So that means our slope is 6 over 4, which can be simplified into 3 over 2. Now we need to find the y-intercept. Remember, the y-intercept is where x is 0 and it crosses the y-axis. So that happens right here at 0, -3. So my b is going to be -3. Now I can write my equation. Y equals 3/2 x minus 3. All right, for part B, we're going to do the same thing. I noticed that it's a negative slope, so it's going down from left to right. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. So I'm going down 3, and to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So to the right 4, so my slope is -3 over 4. And my y-intercept is right here where x is 0 and it crosses the y-axis, so my b is 2. Write the equation. Y equals -3/4 x plus 2. All right, so by now, the honor students, your notes are just going to be a little bit different, but they follow along the same way. So you're going to fill them in the same way. Write an equation from 2 points. So on the honors notes, you guys are just going to write them out. On the Algebra 1 regular, you guys have to fill in the blanks. Okay, so number 1, you're going to find slope by using slope formula. So remember, the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then you're going to find the y-intercept, where x is always 0. Then write your equation, y equals mx plus b, in that form, so that slope-intercept form. All right? So in the first one, it says write an equation of each line that passes through the given points. So when we write the equation, we have to write it in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So first thing we need to do is figure out the slope. So we're going to use the slope formula. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have -1 minus 5 over 0 minus -3. -1 minus 5 is -6. 0 minus a negative changes to plus, so 0 plus 3 is 3. So my slope is -2 when I simplify. So my m is -2, and my b, remember b is always where x is equal to 0. So in this case, this point right here is where x is equal to 0. So my b would be -1. Now I can write the equation of the line. Y equals -2x minus 1. All right, part B, we're going to do the exact same thing. you have to find your slope first. So we have -5 minus -5 over 8 minus 0. Remember, this is changed to positive, so -5 plus 5 is 0 over 8, and that gives me a 0 slope. My y-intercept is where x equals 0. And so my b is equal to -5. So when I'm going to write my equation, I don't normally write 0x, so I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm just going to write y equals -5. Okay? All right, moving along. Example 4, write a linear function f with the given values. So all this is saying, this is a different way of giving the points. What this is saying is this is f of x, where x is normally at, and that equals the y value. So f of x equals y. So this part right here, 10, is y. So my point is going to be at 0, 10. And this one, this is my x, this is my y, 6 and 34. Okay? So we can use the 2 points just like we did before to find the m. And then we know our y-intercept is where x is always 0. So we can use that point right here for our b and write the equation. So we have 34 minus 10 over 6 minus 0. So you have 24 over 6, which is 4. So my slope is 4. My y-intercept is 10, where b is equal to 10. So I can write my equation, y equals 4x plus 10. Same thing for the other side. Your points are going to be 0, -6, and 3, 9. Find the slope. So we can find it by 9 minus -6 over 3 minus 0. 9 minus -6 is 9 plus 6, which is 15 over 3. And that simplifies to 5. So my slope is 5. My y-intercept is where x is 0, so 0, -6. So my b is equal to -6. And I can write my equation, y equals 5x minus 6. All right, so that was all in slope-intercept form using y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to look at the point-slope form, where the line passes through the point x1, y1, and the slope of the line is m. So remember, point-slope form looks like this. Y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x1. Okay? And that we're going to leave x and y, the first x and y alone. We're not going to mess with those. And only plug in x1, y1, and m. So we're only using those parts. The x and the y you leave alone. And you only use x1, y1, and the m. So looking at example 1, it says write an equation and point slope of the line that passes through the given point and the slope. So now we're given the point and the slope here. So y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Remember, this is x1 and this is y1. So when we put it in, y minus y1 is 3, so it's going to be y minus 3 is equal to m, which is 1/4. Our x we're going to keep, and then minus -8. It would normally be minus -8, but remember we don't write it as minus a negative, so that would actually be x plus 8. So the equation that we're going to use, the point-slope form, is y minus 3 equals 1/4 x plus 8. Now it says write an equation. So right now it is in point slope form. What would I need to do to get that into slope intercept form if I were to write the equation of a line? So if I wanted to write the equation of the line, this is where I would have to distribute. Okay, so then I get y minus 3 is equal to 1/4 x plus 1/4 of 8, which is 2. 8 over 4 is 2. And then I can add 3 to both sides. So then I get y equals 1/4 x plus 5. And there I have it. I wrote an equation of a line from point slope form to slope intercept form. Okay, so let's try B. Let's try this one. We're given a slope. So we have y minus, my y1 is -1, so minus a -1 is going to change to +1, is equal to my -2, which is m, our slope, times x minus, and that's a 3. Now I can convert it to slope-intercept form. So I'm going to distribute. So I have y plus 1 is equal to -2x plus 6. Subtract 1 from both sides. We get y is equal to -2x plus 5. And then we have the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So we converted from point-slope form to slope-intercept form. All right, writing equations of lines given 2 points. So first we have to find the slope of the line. So that's where you're going to use your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then we're going to pick a point. I usually pick the first point. Just because I keep it consistent. The only reason I would pick a different point is if I had a fraction and I needed that other point to easily cancel out my terms or my denominators. So that's the only time I would usually pick a different point is if I needed that for a fraction. But mostly I just pick the first point because that's the one that it's consistent and I'm the one that I normally use. All right, so once we pick a point, then we're going to use the slope and the point to write the equations in point-slope form. I don't know why that says point-slope point. It should say point-slope form. Then if we're solving in slope-intercept form, we're going to do exactly what we did above. We're going to distribute first. And then I'm just going to cross this part out. We're going to distribute first and then solve for y. So that's by moving the constant to the other side. So we're distribute first and then solve for y. All right, example. We're going to write equation in point-slope form. So right now, all we're doing is writing the equation in point-slope form. We're not going to convert anything. We're just going to practice writing it in point-slope form, given 2 points. So first thing we need to do is find the slope. So -2 minus 2 over 3 minus 1. That's -4 over 2, which is -2. Now we're going to pick a point. I'm going to pick this first point. And I'm going to plug it into, remember the y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x1. That's point slope form. So we're going to put it into point slope form using this first point. So we have y minus 2 is equal to our slope, which is negative 2, x minus 1. And that is all we do for this part. So if we do b, you're going to have 10 minus 4 over 3 minus 1. 10 minus 4 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2, so my slope is 3. I'm going to pick the point 1, 4. So y minus 4 is equal to 3x minus 1. Okay? So now we're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So we're going to do the same thing we did up here, except now we have to take it a step further like our directions say. We have to distribute and then solve for y, similar to what we did up here in these problems. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing down here. First, find the slope. So 9 minus 3 over 2 minus 4 is equal to 6 over negative 2, which is negative 3. Now I'm going to pick a point. So I pick 4, 3. Y minus 3 is equal to negative 3x minus 4. Distribute. So I have to distribute the negative 3 first before I do anything else. So I get y minus 3 is equal to negative 3x plus 12. Add 3 to both sides because I want to get y by itself. So y equals negative 3x plus 15. Okay? All right, and you can try b on your own. So b, this one is a little bit tricky because you're going to get some fractions. So you can try that one. I'm going to give you the answer to it. So I want you to try it and see if you can get that answer. So you should get y equals negative 1/5 x minus 17 over 5. For those of you in the honors class, that is one that you probably want to work through so that you know how to do the fractions. Same with the regular class. It's something that you want to work through, okay? Because you are going to see fractions and stuff like that. So try to work through those. All right, number 4, example 4, write a linear function f with the given values. So we have this is a little bit different where we have f of 4 is the same, so as like your x, and this is your y, so we can write our ordered pair as 4, negative 2, and the ordered pair over here is 8, 4. Find our slope, so 4 minus negative 2 over 8 minus 4. So change that to plus, so 4 plus 2 is 6, 8 minus 4 is 4, and our slope is 3 over 2. Pick one of the points, so I'm going to pick the first point. So I have y minus negative 2, which is y plus 2, is equal to 3/2 x minus 4. I'm going to distribute the 3/2 x to both. So I get y plus 2 is equal to 3/2 x minus, and then I have 2 and 4, so 3/2 of 4. And remember, we can do it like that. So, did I? Negative 2. Which you have 12 over 2. So then 12 over 2 simplifies to 6 over 1. So we have y plus 2 is equal to 3 over 2x minus 6. Subtract 2 from both sides, and we get y is equal to 3/2 x minus 8. All right, so you can try C on your own. And see if you can get the right answer. For C, it's y equals 1/2 x plus 2. So try working through that and see if you can come up with the same answer. And then the last one, example 5. The student council is ordering customized foam hands to promote school spirit. The table shows the cost of ordering different numbers of foam hands. Can the situation be modeled by a linear equation? So that's the first thing we need to figure out. Can it be linear? And if possible, write a linear model, which means the equation y equals mx plus b. Write a linear model that represents the cost as a function of the number of foam hands. So the first thing that we need to do is we have to find the change in y over the change in x. So the change in y, this is our y value, this is our x value. Remember, y is cost, y depends on x. X is the number of foam hands. So the change in the y value, 34 to 46 goes up 12. 46 to 58 goes up 12. 58 to 70 is by 12. And 70 to 72 increases by 12. So my change in y is increasing by 12. And my change in x, 4 to 6 is plus 2, 6 to 8 is 2, 8 to 10 is plus 2, and 10 to 12 is plus 2. So my change in x is increasing by 2. So my change in y over my change in x is 12 over 2, which is 6. So my slope, or my rate of change, is 6. So does this situation model a linear equation? The answer is yes. It's linear because it has a constant rate of change. So we found that it's constant because all of these, the change in y is constant. It's plus 12 for every point that we have, and the number of foam hands is plus 2 by every point that we have, or every figure, okay? So now we have to write a linear model. We have m, okay, so we know what m equals. M equals 6. Now we have to find b. Well, looking at this, we've found b a couple different ways. So one of the ways that we found b was to use 2 points, right? We can use 2 points. Any 2 points in the table will help us to find b. So number 1, you could use 2 points. To find the slope, which we already did. Or pick one of those points. So use 2 points. Let's go back and we'll just pick 1 point, just like we did before. Pick 1 point. And use point slope. Form. So we can plug it into the point slope form. So let's use that one first. So I'm going to just use the first point, 4 and 34. So we can do y minus 34 is equal to 6 times the quantity x minus 4. So we picked a point. We picked 434. That's the first point. Now we can distribute and solve. So y minus 34 is equal to 6x minus 24. Add 34 to both sides. And y is equal to 6x plus 10. So that was one way that we can solve it, by just picking a point and using point slope form. Or another way is we can work backwards from our table. So I know at 4 it's 34. So if I work backwards and subtract 2, I'm going to get 2. And that's going to be minus 12. So 34 minus 12 is 22. So I would have 2 and 22. And then I can also have 0. And if I go back 12, I'm going to have 10. So at 0, 10. So right there, I worked backwards and I found my y-intercept to be 0, 10. So then I have 6x, y equals 6x plus 10 again, and those equal each other. So I know that I'm right because I got the same equation for both ways that I did it, okay? You don't have to do it both ways. You can pick and choose which way you want to do it, whichever is easier for you. This one was really easy to count backwards because we didn't have any odd numbers or any half numbers or fractions or anything like that. So it worked really well. It doesn't always work that well. So sometimes it's really hard to find the y-intercept. So it's best to use the point slope form and pick one point and plug it in and then solve for your y. All right, those are your notes for today. So that is it. Check Canvas for the book page numbers that you have for homework. Algebra 1, you have book pages, same with Algebra Honors. You guys just have a different book, so you guys have different problems to do. So make sure you're checking to see what those are in Canvas. Get those done. You should be able to get everything completed before you leave class today. Have a great day, and I will see you guys on Thursday.